call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Mr. Pete Zong,
Here.
Mr. Tibor Benke,
Here.
Ms. Cheryl Cook,
Here.
Mr. James Newman, Mr. John Campion,
Here.
Mr. Kenneth Hunt,
Here.
Mr. Javier Benente.
Present.
All right, great. Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Has everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes? September.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Carry forward. Approval. Police report? All right.
So we have Lieutenant Garner. She will be providing the police report, and she's also newly assigned as the Special Project Community Initiatives Lieutenant. Yes.
All right. Welcome.
Welcome.
Well, thank you. I was unaware I had to speak today, but the downtown area, we've had, we actually just served a bunch of search warrants right off of Bellevue and Seagrave, which I know is not technically in this area, but it feeds this area. They arrested 4 or 5 people in that search warrant for a bunch of narcotics. In the Beach Street area, as far as I know, there's really no criminal activity that we've been reporting and no complaints that we know of. So,
Okay.
yeah. Question?
Pen report we like.
The short one with positive value. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
That's
it?
All right. That
Thank
was
you.
short.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Welcome. Staff reports?
All right. So the first staff report would be our Public Works. Do you have any questions on the Public Works report? As you can see, there's a lot of positive moving parts that are going on with beautification, infrastructure changes, as well as we have our EV station, our charging station being utilized a lot, which is great. So that shows that it's a positive investment. So I'll let you look over that. Does anyone have any questions on this report or anything that you don't see in here that you would like me to provide on our next meeting?
We could just reach out to you when we have a chance to read all this and find out what's happening.
Absolutely. So it was provided to you all a little bit later because that's when we received a report after the cutoff time. So I do apologize for that on behalf of our staff here at the city. But we wanted to make sure that you were provided that information. If, like Mrs. Cook said, if you have any questions, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to sit down with you or direct you to who has the answer. Yes.
I have a question. An observation as well. The Coast Guard work that was done over there.
Mike.
The Coast Guard work that was done over there was really nice. It looks like they've done a good job over there.
Yeah.
Especially, they've cleaned up the dock area, which is just off it. I noticed that there is a Halifax dock repair. Is that those old docks on the south side of the, or actually on, just offshore from the Coast Guard station? Are those part of the renovation they're going to be doing?
Yes, that's a
Okay.
part of it.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions in regards to that?
I do have one question. So I guess Milton took out the walk under international again?
So yes, what they're doing is they'll start that process again. Yes.
Is it going to be a major work? I did see some beams off of it.
I don't have the answer for that, but I know this recent hurricane did affect that.
Yeah. It's frustrating because it was
progressing.
it was ready to be walked on almost
Yeah.
a year ago. And so it's just a little frustrating, but I understand the phasing and stuff, but it's like sometimes I get frustrated because we're waiting for the perfect, but we could enjoy the good too.
Right.
You know, I know that's not always easy though.
And I'll make a note to follow up with your request.
I'm just curious to see how long that's going to be, because, and I'm also, you know, because and I was speaking with another individual in downtown, a resident, who also mentioned that, you know, it's just going to happen again and again and again, and they even mentioned to me the possibility of a flyover, a walkover somewhere around there. I don't know if that's a real possibility or whether the city would even want that, but there's several within the city around here. But to connect north and south over ISB, if we're going to rely under that bridge, we're going to have the same problem over and over, in my opinion. I don't know however anyone else thinks, but.
Well, we're glad you're out there noticing all these things.
The good walking
Yeah.
citizen.
Yes.
To me, it's finishing what the vision is of connecting north and south of along the riverfront, and to me it's a key part of it. I just going to the art show this weekend, you know, this past weekend. You know, it's inconvenient to go across ISB, and they're having major events there, so it's always going to be an issue in my mind, and maybe there's a long-term solution to it, is all I'm suggesting. Okay.
Thank you. All right, we can move on to the redevelopment project manager's report.
Hey, all right. So to talk about the Halifax Art Show, that was a great event. I spoke to some of the business owners, and they were excited that they had a lot of foot traffic in their businesses, and they stayed busy. So when I spoke with them, even on the day after, I said, well, how was it? They was like, oh, it was so busy. I said, that's what I like to see. I like to see that you had a lot of people that came in that were utilizing your services, and it was a positive exhaustion. So that was a positive feedback. Also, Miss Maureen, she was excited about it as well. So we were happy to hear that it was another positive event in our community. As far as with the policing, the foot traffic for our foot patrol for our First Coast security company, they're continuing to go out there. They're providing reports. So if you are interested in receiving a report, the reports are very lengthy because they're very detailed. And so I didn't want to give you such a large report. But if you want access to that report, please reach out to me. I'll be happy to send you the very large file. So keep in mind, I will send you at least 2 to 3 emails because I can't send you one email because the file is too large. So for expectation purposes, you'll receive a few emails to receive a full report. If there is a particular day that you're interested in knowing about, let me know and I will provide you with that date, okay? I do want to reiterate our outdoor seating, that we have funding to encourage businesses who have restaurants or serve beverages or any type of food, that we have grant funding available for the outdoor seating. So that would be the nice gated area, the fence areas, or different planters to identify their seating, outdoor seating for their restaurant. So we have those funds available. We currently have 3 applications that were submitted, so they're in the very beginning stages. So we're working through a licensing agreement with our legal department because they are intruding on the city of Daytona Beach's property. So we're working through the logistics of that, but I do want to let you all know, and then also for those who are listening, that if you're interested in doing any type of outdoor seating, we do have funding available for that. Last month, we had our triage meet and greet, and that was a great success. We had business owners who came out, and they were able to learn a little bit more about the triage program. They gave success stories on how the triage program really helped them throughout their beginning stages of their assessment. So the triage program is a business development program where they assess the businesses to see where the gaps are and how can the city provide resources to fill in those gaps. We are preparing for phase 2. Phase 2 is I'm not ready for that one yet. Phase 2 is where we'll go deeper into the implementation stages. So we're developing a strategic plan for those business owners, and we'll dive deeper into providing additional resources, whether it's through grant funding or connecting them to our community partners to ensure that they are successful throughout our redevelopment areas. And as the program continues, once our CRA sunset, it will be at large. So we're making sure businesses are successful to stay in the city of Daytona Beach, right? And so another item that I want to go over is that we have various people who are moving their business to the downtown area, the downtown CRA, as well as the Blue. I know I keep saying this every meeting, but that's a good thing. That means that we have increase of businesses who are interested in being in this area, but also expanding throughout the area. So we'll see more of them. We'll highlight some of their accomplishments, and we'll bring them as they come to our area. Let's see here. We have an upcoming CRA workshop that will be in December. We have a lot of individuals who are curious on what is a CRA, what do we do throughout the redevelopment areas, and why do we do what we do? And is it necessary? And you see a lot of moving parts that are going on throughout the 5 CRAs. So we will have a workshop in December. So that date will come to you all via email. And also, if you're subscribed to our city's website, you'll be notified on the exact date and location. And we encourage you all to come out and support and also learn a little bit more about what we do as well. To reiterate, as far as our grants, we have grants, our updated grants that we updated within the last couple months. We still have funding available. We are in a new fiscal year, so that means we have new allocation of funds. So we are encouraging individuals to take a part of our grant funding to make sure that we're filling in those gaps and we're enhancing your businesses in any kind of way that's necessary. We recently went to the Florida Redevelopment Conference. You can go to the next slide now. And just wanted to show a picture. We represented the city of Daytona Beach very well. So we, as you can see, that's our redevelopment department there. We had a great time. We were able to network. Our chair, Mr. Kenneth Hunt, he attended as well. He had a great time. As he said earlier, he was full. So we had a lot of great sessions. We were able to network with other CRAs throughout the city of Florida. I was able to present at one of the sessions, Revitalizing the Horizons, talked about how can we revitalize your community. Also spoke with the city manager. He's on the next slide. He can't, oh, well, yes, there we go. He's on the next slide, and we spoke, and he came in on the question and answer session, and Mr. Ken Thomas, he did the introduction, and it was very important that we had our line of command there because we wanted to show the project managers our boots on the ground. It's important to have the buy-in from our director as well as our city manager to do what we do on a daily basis. The next picture you see Michelle and I, we're there. We have we graduated from the academy, and so we have our Florida Redevelopment designation, so that was a great thing. So our entire department, so you know, that has our designations through the Florida Redevelopment Association, so that's the highest credentials that you can have in the state of Florida for the redevelopment department. So we take pride in that. We don't only do what we do on a daily basis, but we are a fully credentialed department. And with the great leadership of our director, who believes in us on a daily basis and wants to make sure, with his serious face right now, wants to make sure that, we are educated on a daily basis and we have continuous education so we can be as effective as possible. So that is the report. If you all have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer those questions for you.
You mentioned new businesses coming into the area,
Yes.
and of course, big news was the Brown & Brown purchase of Burgoyne. So is there anything you can share on that at this point?
As far as what they're doing with
Plans are
it.
very preliminary.
As far as what Brown & Brown is doing with the building, I don't have, it's very preliminary right now. As of now, I will say that they are meeting with each tenant to see their needs. And also, a lot of the tenants want work done within their particular unit, so they're working closely with them. As more development happens, I'll be able to provide more information. It's still very new. It was last Thursday, so it's very, very new on what's going to happen.
So if there's individual leases, then all of those businesses that have been downtown for 50 years or more are on individual parcels, tax parcel? Or is just a lease parcel and then the Burgoyne is one large piece of property?
The Burgoyne is one large piece of property, and then they have individual leases. So that's,
Okay.
yes.
So as you walk down Beach and you look at the different buildings on there, that the legal description for the lease would follow the outline of that building?
That's correct.
Okay.
Unless they request something different.
Interesting to see what happens.
Same here. Any other questions? All right.
Wow. Okay. Any public comments?
None at this time, sir.
Okay. Any board comments?
I have one, it's probably to Mr. Jackson. A resident, a downtown resident asked me the other day, what's the future of food pantries downtown? Is there any news on that? As I know the city decided not to defend certain, can you give us an explanation maybe instead of my trying to paraphrase what the city's doing? I'm curious what.
Yeah, no real news. I mean, we had the lawsuit, and they ultimately settled, and the one that was the subject of that lawsuit is operating. But other than that, there's no real changes that I'm aware of.
Thank you.
In terms of our established city policy.
So essentially,
We have ordinances that define where it can be in the land development code, and I don't know of any
changes?
changes.
Thank you.
Where do we,
Is he on the board?
Is he on the board?
Board comments.
I was just curious, is there any concerns with Brown & Brown manipulating the area? That was it.
The question was there any concern with Brown & Brown monopolizing the area?
That's correct.
Not for me. I mean,
no.
they've done a good job on the park. Money's gone into Museum of Arts and Sciences. It's gone into the Art Center. It's gone into, if you really pay attention, you're going to find that corporate entities are those that fund the arts. And I think we're lucky to have Brown & Brown and that they're interested in doing that type of thing. And I don't think that that really is going to be a monopoly of that big piece, because even though that's a big ownership, it's split into many, many businesses. And I think that's most likely what's going to remain down there would be something similar to that. There might be a residential component, which would be great, because we need the residential component to bring the people in to come into the services, the restaurants and the nail salons and the jewelry stores and everything else. So I think in the long run, that's going to be very positive economic benefit for the city.
Having those stakeholders come in and just like Mr. Zahn was saying, as a buy-in, That is something that we do on a daily basis. And that's even at the conference, I spoke about the lenses. How do we see things? And we have to focus on those individuals that are right there. I gave the analogy of the peripheral vision. We're so focused on what's in front of us and don't utilize our peripheral vision, which is someone right there on both sides who can help us. And those are the stakeholders and those community leaders like Brown and Brown and those other individuals that we can, there's a list of individuals who are coming to the table to say, I see the vision and I want to help you get to the goal. As government staff, local government staff, we're limited with funding and limited on what we can and cannot say to be unbiased. But when we have individuals who don't have to worry about the limitations and they're able to come to the table and say, you need $45 million, I will help put that into the pool and match the funds or help eliminate those barriers. So having them come to the table to say, I see the need. I'm also tired of seeing the blight and slum, because our job as redevelopment staff is to eliminate blight and slum and also provide resources to the community. And our goal is to revitalize it, and not just a building, but also increasing businesses so we can have that vibrant community. So having individuals like Mr. Hyatt to come in and say, I believe in the vision, I would love to see more come to the table with the same heart of the community and the same, reaching the same goals as what we're working hard to do. So that's why I don't think it's an issue when it comes to the monopoly. It's all about how you look at it. I think it's great that somebody else is coming and helping us.
I also think that the Burgoyne property has been in disarray for so long. They haven't done anything down there. They are based out of Jacksonville, so it's really not something for them to do. Ian destroyed a lot of their properties on the inside when we had like the Council on Aging and the Safety Council down there, and then the mold was so bad, everything like that from Ian. And here it used to be a First Kids, department store down there years ago. And so we needed to have somebody come in that could give us money, and Brown and Brown Foundation, the Brown and Brown family and the business have, if you look on any event that we have down here, they're one of our major sponsors besides the Downtown Development Authority with the city of Daytona Beach. We can't get that from a lot of other people, but they're so vested and they want to do what's happening for downtown. They were very active with this art festival we just had. They're with the wine walks that we have, all the other, they put their money out to be able to help it be a better area for all of us to be in.
Do we actively seek other investors, or we just wait for them to show up?
No, we actively seek. Oh, did you? He asked, do we actively seek out other investors? We do. You can come up to the top, to the podium. To answer your questions, we actively seek other investors on a daily basis. Sometimes they don't know what we need, and that's why we bring them to the table. And a lot of times they come and seek after us. It all depends on what it is. We have a strategic plan for the downtown area, for all of our CRAs. We have a strategic plan, and also the city has a plan. And there are individuals like our staff, our department goes after those stakeholders to say, you're interested in arts. You're interested in blight and slum. You get excited when there is a dilapidated property and you're able to come in and fund it. So there are individuals that are out there. Some individuals like education. It all depends on what their heart and their passion is. We go and we have a meeting with them to say, are you interested in this project? So yes. And some of them, they just come to us.
And so with the property that they're purchasing, they control whether or not, let's say they don't like a particular business, they have the option to say, we don't want you to rent with us.
Well, there is a lease, a standing lease that is there. And depending on what they want to do with that property, they still have to go through the city and go over what exactly they want to do as far as their plans. Currently, there is an active lease, and the lease just renewed for most of the tenants. So they are going to follow through with that lease. after that, I'm sure that that's why they're having those conversations with the tenants to let them know whatever the projected plan is. If, let's say hypothetically, if they say they want to change the entire structure of what's existing and the tenants have to leave, they will give them an ample amount of time, because at the end of the day, the Brown and Brown Foundation and those who sit on the board are business people. So they understand that the importance of having businesses and small businesses in communities like this community, but also making sure that they are moving as professionally as possible and ethically as possible to give them ample amount of time if they were to transition. But that's not what they're saying right now. I don't have all of the details of what they're going to do with that particular property, but at the end of the day, they still have to go through the city's staff and what's called a TRT, which is a technical review team. And that is, all the departments will speak with them on whatever the potential project is that they desire to do.
And there's substantial public input during that process. I mean, just right now, this year began that process. And I think you should be applauded for being concerned about accountability. When you have an organization of that size and that power to come into a city, the people should be watching it. And I believe, from what I've seen, they're very much involved in the community. I haven't been here that long, but it's one of the few organizations that I've experienced that seem to generally want to reach out to the community and make it better. You know, I don't know if they're perfect. I don't know them personally, but I look around and I see what's going around here, and yeah, I'd be concerned that they're too powerful too. That's why you should stay involved. And I think that's why you should continue to watch. They have to go to public meetings. They have to have discussions with people when they want to do things. And I don't think they're opposed to answering questions either. You might want to reach out.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I have a comment? Yes. So what in the world is going on at Magnolia and Beach Street with that building? I mean, it is, when I was here for the art festival, it was so pathetic and falling apart basically, and windows out. And I mean, it's like, come on, something's got to be done.
Force Hyatt to buy that.
I agree. And once I was able to, after the storm, once I was able to drive over and look at it, I was like, oh, it's still there. So, but it's definitely an eyesore. And we are we've been in conversations with investors who are interested in purchasing the building right now. They're going through just evaluation to see what the building is worth. And I know with our eyes, we can say, oh, it's worth X amount of dollars, but they have to do a proper, a formal appraisal of the building, and they're doing different assessments to see if it's structurally sound. So that's what's going on right now. I hope to get a report, he said next week or so, next week as far as with the appraisal. So I'll keep you updated. Hopefully by the next meeting, I'll have an update on that building. I'm right with you as far as with the status of that building.
Does the bank own it now? The bank that when they lost it, the last people, or who is the current owner of that?
As far as we know, it's still privately owned.
Yeah.
Phoebe has walked the building. I mean, it's not that safe, I can tell you that. But she's walked the building at least twice in the last 2 months.
Yes.
But we as Phoebe mentioned, we have several investors who are looking to purchase, but you know, we have to wait and see. But in the meantime, we're going to do our job of making sure they maintain it so it doesn't become a total eyesore.
Well, obviously, are there liens on it that have to be, you know, code and violations that are huge? So do we have liens on it now that the new owner would have to pay for to get it out? Because the old people don't give a flying rats, obviously. So
I know what that process is. I've been on the code board for Volusia County for many years. What'll happen is as these things have accumulated the fines, they have an opportunity to go to the code enforcement staff and say, we have these plans for improvements and we would like a reduction of the fine of this or elimination of the fine. Then you have to come before the special magistrate. David
But that's
Kelger or
county.
somebody else. That's city too. because I've been here for a couple cases, and it's the same process. The difference would be in the county, you're coming before the full board. Here you come before a special magistrate. So you have an opportunity, if you're, let's say somebody comes in and they're gonna buy the building, and they wanna put 20 million into it. I think it'd be worth it to have them come in and put the 20 million in and reduce their fine from 50,000 to $0 or $1,000 or whatever to cover administrative cost. Because in the long run, you're going to get somebody that's committed to come in and doing something about it. But nothing's going to happen. It's just like you say, the homeowner just going to sit back and twiddle their thumbs, and they don't care, let it run until somebody comes along to pay the bill. So that's the way they work. And then if the guy was flagrant all along in disregarding any requirements from the city, the board that I sit on at the county, that's when you don't see any reflection of a reduction or consideration of the fine. It just kind of, that person never really showed any interest in bringing it into compliance, then why should we consider it now?
I have a question based on that. So the city, I know sometimes when a property is in distress and it's not being taken care of, they'll, you know, the weeds have gotten so big, they'll send out a crew, and that accrues to the property as a lien or whatever it is. Does that apply to facades of businesses downtown as well?
We don't have that available at the moment. Our code enforcement doesn't have a crew that goes out and cuts the grass or maintains a private property at the moment. That's something that they're talked about doing, but don't have it available. But I also want to say that we don't know what liens or fines that they have at the moment at that property, but we'll look into it. Mm-hmm.
Oh, there is a process too. It only works on commercial. It won't work on homestead, but you can file a lien on the property, so you can force a foreclosure. The county absorbed a few properties that just basically weren't worth much of anything, and so they were donated to Habitat. Then Habitat comes in and puts a home on it. So it's a whole wrangle. You prefer not to get into that if you can afford it. You keep Anthony busy for a long time.
We actually have some properties that will be going before the commission on this week, where we're seeking the authority to move forward on foreclosure.
Okay.
There's just a lot of things that you have to consider when you start talking foreclosure, such as outstanding mortgages and other things and priorities and so forth. So we generally do those reviews when they're made, when the request is made, and if it's something that has makes sense, then we come before the commission and ask for the authority to go forward. And we have been successful on some of those that we've gone forward on. Well, we're typically successful, but sometimes it's people remedying the debt. And because it's based on the debt itself, if someone just comes and pay the money, then the eyesore may remain and we'll have to start over. But typically, it's someone with no interest at all, and we ultimately result in getting the property as a result of the foreclosure. Doesn't happen with everything. We have to consider it with every time it comes about and look at all of the history and all of the information related to the property to determine whether or not it's something that would make sense.
Any other board comments? I have a couple. I did attend the Florida Redevelopment Conference over in Tampa a couple weeks ago. It was great to see our team, development team over here, show up in force along with the city manager, and they actually presented on what's taking place here in our Daytona Beach area in comparison to what's taking place in other areas throughout Florida. And the potential that we have here is what I saw was enlightening to the point where we're on the right track. And, you know, with Ken Thomas being the past president over there, that spoke volumes as well in comparison to what was taking place statewide. They did have an opportunity to tour the Tampa area despite the hurricane, and you would not have known that a hurricane went through there. So that speaks volumes of what they're able to do and what we have the potential to do as well. So noticing all those little things and the funding, and I think we're on the right track with the direction that we're going in Daytona Beach. So if you have an opportunity to go next year, I think I'm looking forward to doing that.
Cool.
In addition to that, this will be my last board meeting. Anita's here to get my resignation letter. I'm transitioning over to the DDA board. So next week, but I won't be able to attend that meeting because I have a workshop to attend, but that's what's taking place. However, you know, this board was fantastic, each and every one of you, with your contributions, and I'm glad that, you know, Javier walks his dog because he lets us know all the small details, you know, about any and everything, you know, and it was just a pleasure to be a part of it all. And meeting and just collaborating as we move forward. So this was just a foundation as I, you know, transition to the next board, and we'll still be in communication and learning and growing. So thank you all.
Welcome to the DDA.
Yeah. Hey. Oof. So
How
yes.
many positions do we have open on this board, though? I mean, because did Jake finally submit his resignation letter? Jake Nicely? He keeps saying, I'm like, Jake, submit it because we can't fill it unless you submit it.
Yes, he has. So everyone, Anita Plogo, the city clerk's office, and I'm also the board recruitment specialist. So yes, thank you again, Mr. Hunt, and we look forward to having you over in the DDA. So we are hoping, we do have some applicants. There are the two open positions now. That will occur effective tomorrow. We do have applicants. We're looking to get them on the December 4th agenda, I believe, because we also have some reappointments. Such as, I have your application as well to get reappointed, and Mr. Benke and then Mr. Zahn. I just got your reappointment application today. So we're going to try to get the reappointments and a new appointment on in the December agenda. And so you'll see that out there once that comes out. If you guys have any questions, or if you have any other qualified candidates that you want to send my way, feel free. All right. Any other questions? Yeah, right. I know. Yes, Ms. Cook, you've got them too. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you. Any other comments? All right. Meeting adjourned.
Good meeting.
I know.
It is sad but true that for years, some people have been